All right, guys, this is part two of a series I'm doing where I'm revealing everything that I know about prospecting from online leads. And I'm going to dive into everything here. I'm going to reveal my ninja hacks, my secrets, kind of the things that you don't see anyone else revealing. So follow along, make sure you pay attention because I'm going to be revealing some things that we actually use in our business to get our clients results. So if you don't know me, my name is Niccolo Defendi. I've now spent over $40,000 on real estate marketing client acquisition systems, and we have our things pretty dialed in. So I'm going to be going through how do we actually take the ads that we ran in part one and how do we actually optimize them to make sure that, okay, we're not just wasting money on, $20, $30 cost per lead ads. We're bringing that down incrementally. So let's dive in here. Make sure you watch to the end as like I said, I reveal some things that we actually use, not just the kind of marketing gimmicks that a lot of online people are telling you to follow. So I'm going to jump into my computer here and I'm going to walk you through it. So this is revealing everything I know about testing creatives. This is going to be taking the creatives from part one, which is up here, and any other creatives that you have, and just kind of giving you the framework on how you actually test them. So there's going to be three phases, or three main phases, and then obviously there's a kind of a red flag phase four, and this is what I use to actually get cost per leads in and around the either $8 to $15 range, or the $15 to $25 range if it's a high quality market. So before you say, okay, that's kind of high, remember the stuff that we go through, right? There's double qualification, all that stuff that we went over in part one, which you can check out on my channel. So anyway, let's get into it. So first one is you need to test creatives. Now, obviously, you're not going to have access to the winning creatives in the USA and Canada and North America, but you can still use the strategy to test the ones that you have. But I have, years and years of practicing, okay, this one works better than that one. So I have a good idea of I can go in any market and figure out this is the one we should start with and this is the one we should end with. But either way, even if you don't know the first one or the second one to start with or end with, you still can test three creatives. So the first thing to do is test three creatives and metrics to look for, right? These are the exact metrics that we use. In the first $100 of ad spend, if no leads come in, we move to phase two. Now, that's usually not the case. Usually there are a few leads. If the housing market is less than 425K, so that's this one here, and the cost per lead is $0 to $15, create variations of the winner. So we'll get into that in part three, but essentially you want to stay with those creatives, but just make sure you're creating variations, split testing, all that good stuff. And same concept applies for greater than 425K housing markets. If the cost per lead is 15 to 25, create variations of the winner. Split test, all that good stuff. So let's say we're in a $700,000 housing market. If the cost per lead is 23, awesome. We're not going to move to phase two. We're going to stay in this phase and just get that cost per lead lower by doing split testing. So the next thing we do is we move to phase two. So let's say, either it's outside of, let's say it's $27, or let's say there's no leads in the first 100. We then move to phase two. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove a question. So in our form, we have a Facebook form where we ask, when are you thinking of selling? How soon are you looking to sell? How many months? Are you a homeowner? We remove a question. So I usually like to sit in and around the 2 to 3 question mark. I think that's the sweet spot in terms of making sure we're getting the volume, but also the quality. So we're going to remove a question in phase two. And we just want to decrease the barrier to entry because it could be a very competitive market where you're testing ads in. So we want to make sure that we have a less strong barrier to entry so we can see which creative works. And then once we find a winning creative, we'll test adding back that question after we've already removed it. So metrics to look for, very, very similar. Same thing. We're testing the next three creatives. And metrics to look for is $100. No leads, then move to phase three. And obviously same thing where if it's, $700,000 housing market, and the cost per lead is 27, move on. But if it's 25, make variations. And these are not hard rules. If you see potential, if you feel like you kind of have intuition with it, if you will. If the cost per lead is 26 and you feel like this is going to work and this is just needs some time to warm up, it's kind of intuition. So not hard rules, just general guidelines. So let's say you have to move on to phase three. This is the third three creatives that you're testing. And the metrics to look for as well are first $100, no leads, then move to phase four, and same thing. If you're in 425 or greater and the cost per lead is not within $15 to $25, move on. But if you're less than 425 and the cost per lead is not in 0 to 15, also move on as well. So phase four. So this is phase one, two, and three, and I'll show you some examples of that. But phase four, this is where things really get interesting, and this is not where you want to be, right? This is obviously kind of a last stage. And a few of the solutions to this is calling out a new area. So obviously, when we run our ads, we're running property price update ads, and we call out an area, Dallas, Denver, things like that. And you can call out a new area instead of calling out the country, call out the state, call out the county, call out the state, call out nothing, try a few different things. The second thing you can do, if you're good on camera, create video ads, right? So this is a script we've used for some of our video ads that have actually worked very, very well for people in Seattle so far. So take a look at this. You can copy this, do some editing, get a guy on Fiverr, and chuck that up there and see if that works. And then the next kind of 2 ways or the 3 ways that we troubleshoot this issue of going through all the way to phase 4 is we change the guarantee. So we promote maybe sold in 3 months guaranteed, or we do a consultation to increase home value. So that's a meeting where you, the realtor, go out to just give true, genuine value on how to increase their home's value, not giving a home evaluation, but giving a consultation. And then we do seller's guide as well. This is something that we've found to work well as well, which is promoting a guide where it's 7 hacks to increase your property's value, free ebook. And essentially this works the same as a consultation, but it's a bit less strong of a barrier to entry because you're providing an ebook and not a in-person meeting. So this is also catering to a core desire of a home seller, which is what is your home worth, number 1, but number 2 is how can I actually sell my home for more? So that's phase 4. And obviously we don't want to be in phase 4. We want to be staying in phase 1, 2, and 3. If you don't know what creatives to run, you're already at a disadvantage and you're kind of just shooting blank. So you might need to add more phases of similar caliber where, phase 4 is now just testing 3 more creatives. But for me, we have the creatives that we know work well. So we only use 3 phases. If it's gone through 3 phases and we haven't found a winning ad, that's when we kind of change our strategy. So I'm going to go in and show you a few examples. So essentially I follow this exact phase where this is the first one that I launched on November 22nd. I spent $100 on this ad set. And as you can see, there was 1 lead that came in for $40. In total, the cost per lead was $100, obviously out of range. So cool. I move on to phase 2, which is testing the next 3 sets of creatives. And just like that, we are now getting leads within the $12 to $14 range. So on average, we've now gotten 96 leads. That's 96 people going through and filling out when are you a homeowner, as well as how soon you're looking to sell. So these are high quality leads, and obviously, $12 leads are significantly better than $100 leads. So that's kind of this phase in action. Okay, cool. So that's how we test our creatives. And essentially we're trying to find a winning creative. Once we find the winning creative, I'm going to get into what to do in part 3, but part 2 is testing, finding the kind of organic winning creative, the one that kind of just surfaces without us doing some manual labor, if you will, in terms of manufacturing a scenario or a scene where it does well, or changing the headline, things like that. So this is where we're just trying to find, okay, this ad has the lowest cost per lead compared to the others. Now let's work with it, and now let's optimize it and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching this video. This was part 2 of a 5-part series where I reveal absolutely everything about Facebook, about Instagram, about client acquisition systems, about all the things that I know, essentially. And this was part 2. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you got some value, as well as my real life example showing you this strategy in action. So I'm going to move on to part 3 now, and the final video is going to be kind of tying this all together. So make sure you watch that one.